Welcome to the very first episode of my brand new podcast called Adventures in Adversity. Thank you so much for joining. I've been super excited to record this, and if I'm being very honest right now, crazy nervous because, this is a new adventure for me, this podcast, but I'm excited, more excited than nervous. So that's what we're going to go with today. So, for this first episode, I thought I would just take maybe 5 minutes to tell you really three things. First, who am I? For those of you who aren't my friends and family, which probably for this first episode, you already know me, but I'm going to say who I am anyway, because we are going to have more listeners one day and they're going to need to know me too. Who am I? Why am I doing this podcast? Like, what's the passion behind it? Why am I starting it? And third, what do I hope that you get from it? That's really what I want the first episode to be about. And kind of to just give you a little bit of a preview of what it's going to be like when you log on and scroll through the episodes. So that is what I'm going to tell you today. So let's get started. Who am I? Bree Wilson. Nice to meet you. I am 42 years old. I live in Danville, California. And I have my husband, Ryan. And let's see, I got two kids. We got Braden. He is 8.5. And we have Reese, my daughter, who is 6.5. So life is busy, but super blessed. Everybody's happy and healthy, which is the most important thing. And my job, my day job, I am a senior writer editor for a company called ServiceNow, which is a software company. And at work, I actually do the same thing that I'm going to be doing at this podcast, which is what it boils down to is I'm a storyteller. So I actually at ServiceNow create presentations and stories for executives about how we use our own technology. And it's funny, day to day, we talk about the power of the story and the emotions that you want to evoke and how you really resonate and connect with people and the power of storytelling. And so it's funny how I'm starting this podcast because this is my passion project on the side. And I think I've learned a lot through ServiceNow, and like stories really make the world go round, whether it's in business or relationships. People just want to connect and hear stories about overcoming a challenge. So that's what this podcast is going to be about. I love my day job. I love what I do. And I just want to see if this podcast is something I can do on the side and really just selfishly, um, you know, get inspired by the guests that I have on. So that brings me to the podcast. Why do I want to do this? Well, I love hearing inspirational stories. I've always loved since I was little, like inspirational quotes, motivation. I listen to a ton of podcasts. That's what really got me inspired to do this. There's one with Forrest and Rick Hansen called Being Well, amazing podcast. The Mel Robbins podcast, where she basically just, makes you confront all your shit and you get your shit together and you face your fears. Um, there's the Anxiety Toolkit with Kimberly Queenlin, who's amazing. So these podcasts over the last couple years have inspired me to overcome my own challenges at work, at home, mentally. Mental health is huge for me. And so I just want to be part of that conversation. I'd love to, my big dreams are to have guests like that, like those podcast hosts come on this podcast. But, honestly, my podcast is going to start with asking and my friends and family, which I've already done, to come share their stories about how they've overcome adversity in their life, whether that is in any area. I just think that this day and age, having a really open mental health conversation is so important. We're so busy. We're all like going for the gold, whatever our personal and professional goals are. But there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of stimulation with constant pings and all this. So I hope that this podcast becomes something that you listen to, like when you're cleaning, when you're driving, when you're working out, because that's how I listen to my favorite podcast, just to get that boost of, hey, I can do this because look at this person who's overcoming this adversity. And hey, I feel inspired. I can do more than I think I can. So that's what I hope you get out of it. I hope you leave inspired. I hope you leave each episode feeling less alone. We're going to cover a range of topics, career, personal relationships, mental health, friendships, just overcoming adversity and really turning adversity into an adventure that adventure is actually your life. So I hope that you enjoyed this introduction to who I am, why I'm starting this, and what I hope you get from Adventures in Adversity, an inspirational podcast hosted by me. And I've got a few guests lined up. I'm so excited to bring them on. You're going to hear some amazing stories about, people digging deep and really just ultimately being resilient, which I think the world needs to hear those stories right now about overcoming challenges that everybody goes through in their everyday life. So, thank you again for listening. I so appreciate it. And with that, we are going to exit out of this podcast. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to listen, to get to know me. And until next time, when adversity comes your way, turn it into an adventure. Oh God. Well, that's just funny. That's the first sign off was not the way I wanted it to be, but guess what? That's okay. We'll work on it. We'll get better for the next one. I'm a dork. See you later. Bye bye.